Hello, welcome back. We return once again to this dungeon. Our characters, after having been somewhat healed, have returned to investigate what's going on. We determined already that all of the Azers have perished, except for one that is lying unconscious, having tried to crawl back to its lair. What I'm planning on doing this time is actually keeping track of which spells are being cast. Now, in general, while exploring in a dungeon, Gothram has dark vision, so he is able to sneak ahead if required, although Valdis likes to try and sneak ahead as well. But Rinya bears a hooded lantern which has 6 hours of light, so no light spells are actually required initially, though it may behoove us to have one light spell cast just in case, but at the moment the spells only last 20 minutes, so we'll just have the hooded lantern. I do need to make a note of Rinya's stock of oils, because he has used at least one so far. So he's got 9 left, and we'll knock another one off because he's going to use it now for exploring the rest of this place. I think there is a little bit of light within the area anyway, especially the area of the Azer's home, essentially. But we'll refer to the details within the module for that. So, the first thing they're going to do once they've unlocked the door is slowly re-enter room 2. Now, I'm planning on taking a couple of bits of advice from this DM Yourself book that I purchased, and there is an immersion table for this, which it suggests that, you know, once you've read the description of the room in the adventure, you should then roll on the immersion table to try and generate some additional details that can add some further flavour and description onto the room. So let's remind ourselves of what they're faced with as they enter the area here. There was, there's a blue door at the front of the cave which they're able to enter. The area is in a valley close by to a waterfall, I believe. So as they come through the main door here, they will go up this corridor slightly, and the tunnel opens into a large circular domed room. The walls were once decorated with plaster fresco around the edges, but they have been scorched beyond recognition and covered by a thick layer of soot. So I imagine that there is a sooty smell in the air. The centre of the room is a great fire pit, filled almost overflowing with cinders and long dead coals. A wide walkway stretches around the fire pit, and there are doorways to the left, right, and across the pit. By doorways it means openings rather than anything with a door, each revealing a broad stepped staircase. The staircases to the left and right descend into darkness, while the one directly across leads upwards. So what we can do at this point is head over to our DM Yourself guide. and we roll a d6 to determine the let's just read. Roll a d6 to determine the sense as normal. Let me get onto the right page so that we are actually looking at the right thing here. So, immersion table. We're going to roll a d6 here to determine the actual sense that we're dealing with. We're rolling a 3, so we're doing sight. So we want to look for a distinctive or unusual visible feature of the environment. So as they enter again, perhaps some of the wind from the door sort of wafts in, and it blows some more of the soot and ash up into the room. Maybe a little bit comes off of the frescoes on the far side there. They are, of course, be able to see the now no longer glowing bodies of the Azers, and one of the party is likely to want to pick the bodies. I'm going to say Mirok is sort of more interested in peering down the staircase in this direction. Valdis, I imagine, is going to be looking for coins, and Fenton with his crossbow will be having it trained on the staircase ahead. Gothram and probably Rinya will both be interested in what these creatures are, perhaps not knowing what they are especially, while Akihito will sort of stand guard as well, waiting for anything to come their way. Gothram and Rinya will be sort of discussing these creatures, and I guess they will do some knowledge checks to try and identify them. The Azers are outsiders, in which case they will need to make a knowledge of the planes check. It's very unlikely that either of them have that. Let's see, what do we have? Akihito, no. Gothram, that's what we want. Skills. He's got knowledge nature. That's not going to be much help. He'll make a comment that they're certainly nothing that he's ever seen before, though they have some resemblance to dwarves in stature at least. Rinya, on the other hand, what does he have? Knowledge of the planes, he does indeed. So perhaps I've already rolled this in a previous time, but we'll roll it now. He rolled an 11 plus 6 for 17. If we see that the hit dice for Azers is 2. Now, as I recall, the DC is 15 plus hit dice for it. I don't know whether it's actually detailed within the player's handbook. Answering a question within your field of study has a DC of 10 for really easy questions, 15 for basic questions, or 20 to 30 for really tough questions. Let me take a look at the 3.5 player manual and see if that has more details. In many cases, you can use this skill to identify monsters and their special powers or vulnerabilities. In general, the DC of such a check equals 10 plus the monster's hit dice. For every 5 points by which your check result exceeds the DC, the DM can give another piece of useful information. So he would know these are Azers if the DC is only 12. He rolled a 17, so he would know an additional piece of information about them as well. What that might be, I'm not sure. Perhaps about their defenses against fire, or the origin of where they come from, or perhaps their metalworking skills. But Rinya will be able to exclaim that these are Azers. They're creatures from another plane. And they shouldn't be here. I wonder how they ended up here and how long they have been here. Meanwhile, dear Valdis is looting the corpses. There's certainly a fair amount of arrows that he'll be able to find, some of which will be very useful for Rhynja, who is running low. Now, there were two of the Azers that were shooting. I don't know if all of them are supposed to have short bows, but we'll just say there's two for now. They're supposed to have 10 arrows each. I think during the period of the combat, they probably would have fired about 12. I would suggest that 50% of the arrows would be useless afterwards. So we're looking for 4 or more. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. So only 4 arrows of the 12 shot. So yeah, there'll be 12 arrows to go around, and I think they will all go to Rhynja because he's in the most need of arrows at the moment. He has only 4 remaining, so he's up now to 16 arrows. That's good. They don't appear to have any other possessions in terms of coin upon them. They've got their steel shields, warhammers, short bows, etc., which the party will leave for now. They will probably take them to sell them later on, but there would be very little point in carrying them around the rest of the dungeon for now. They had explored area 3 and found not much there at all. But they're aware through Fenton that there is some kind of lair up here to take a look at. Mirok is very interested in exploring the area down here, but they decide it is best to go somewhere that has already been explored. Fenton will lead the way as he's been there before, but he will be followed behind by dear Gothram. Akihito will be at the back with the other 2 characters, approximately like that. Let's take off these light radiuses for now, because we're saying that only the lantern from Rhynja is functioning right now. We'll take off this indicator here. Let's give a nice purple one to Gothram to remind us that he has dark vision. So the characters will make their way up to room 5 here, where they will find a huge 25-foot high domed room with a raised circular dais in the middle. Other staircases lead off at the cardinal points. Atop the dais is a reddish circular altar. The air is warm here. Let's head back over to our DM yourself guide to see what other senses are tickled here. The sense of sense. 6th sense, that is. Temperature, atmosphere, memory, mood, emotion. So obviously the warmth of the room is going to be notable to the characters. Some of them will rub their hand across their forehead as they begin to somewhat sweat in the situation. We'll see what else we've got. Yeah, so very, very hot feeling. Now, as they what also is described in this DM yourself is to commit to actions. So we've described what's in the room. There's an altar. There's these other cardinal directions to go down, and also that the party would be able to check the Azer. Fenton would be directing them along the west way here, so he would quite swiftly see the Azer and he would point his crossbow at it as he was going in that direction. Gothram behind him would be ready to attack at it, as Fenton might say. Well, I don't know if he's going to know it's still alive or not. We'll do a heal check from him. He's got +1 bonus. He rolls an 18, so he suspects that the Azer is still alive, so Gothram is ready for him. Rinya will sort of stand in the middle of the room. He will maybe be drawn slightly towards the altar, along with... well, let's think. Mirok. I don't know if we've really determined a personality for him. He is... let's see. He's Cleric Domains. Do we have domains written somewhere? Where do we have domains? Protection and trickery. His deity is going to be the gnomish one, I presume. Garl Glittergold. I think that's right. Let's just go to our cleric section to remind ourselves. Unless we have it, we probably have it written down on his character sheet. Let me have a look at that. Alignment, neutral, good, class cleric. Deity. Where is that? Where is that? Did I not write it down? It seems rather. Garl Glittergold. Yes, as expected. Now. This reminds me of a little point. I was reading a blog entry that was talking about clerics, and one of the things that it suggested was that clerics' spells and abilities should only really affect those that follow the same god. So spells like Bless, for example, or Protection from Evil, should only really affect those who kind of deserve it. Whether they give fealty to the god or something like that. So that's something I'm going to consider, because obviously none of the rest of the party have any fealty to Garl Glittergold at all. So it will make Mirok almost useless. So I mean, I suppose we won't implement it now, but it's something I'm going to consider in the future, and I think it's an interesting rule to implement in some manner. I will just mention as well the music that I have going on in the background. Hopefully it will not be detected by some copyright. And also hopefully it's not too distracting, but any of you that are watching, you can inform me if it is a nice thing to have in the background or whether silence is preferable. So he perhaps, I think, will maybe head over to take a look down one of these passages. He probably quite likes delving deeply, so any staircases going downwards will be of interest to him. And I suppose that Akihito will go with Rinya to take a look at this altar, and Valdis, I think he's going to hang back with his... what is he armed with? A short bow? Yeah, with his short bow. Sort of keeping an eye on things. So now that we've determined what the characters are going to be doing, now we can read through the description of the room to see what would actually happen here. This was the shrine of the Fire Brigands, where they worship their unnamed god. The center of the great circular marble altar is covered with the insignia of a devil's skull with bat-like wings. Excuse me. In the center of the altar is a smashed crock, its reddish contents accounting for the dark smear on the altar. The crock once contained the antidote to the poison that put the cult to sleep, but it was later destroyed by the Azers. The crock is shattered and nothing of the antidote remains. So obviously Valdis will, Rhaenyra will see this and say, this interesting crock upon the altar here. I wonder what it is. PCs who search the area around the altar and make a successful search skill check find a small compartment on the north side. Well, Akihito probably is the only one who will be sort of searching around the altar, although maybe Rhaenyra currently is sort of preoccupied with picking up the smashed jar to see what it is. So Akihito will do a search check then. He has -1, so it's unlikely that he's going to find anything here. And he doesn't, having rolled an 8. Therefore, we don't find that. And unfortunately, we do not find the charred note, holy books, and iron key that maybe will be important for the rest of the mission. We'll see about that. Otherwise, there doesn't seem to be very much in this room of interest. Gothram will probably finish off this Azer, and Fenton will sort of look down the corridor, down the stairs to the abode over there. Mirok will take a look in the direction of room number 9. Right, bear with me 1 second. I seem to remember reading that room 9 would be blocked off in some manner, but I'm not seeing that especially. Oh yeah, the stairs lead down to areas 2 and 4. The stairs down to area 9 have been collapsed by the Azers to seal in the Grimlocks. They end about 10 feet down in the pile of debris. The stairs leading up have been sealed as well. See area 10. So yeah, this corridor is sealed. This staircase is the staircase here is open, and it looks like this area is maybe sealed as well. Let's have a quick look at area 10. The stairway ends suddenly with a large wall made of rough mortared stones. The mortar is dry and crumbling, and the wall is warm to the touch. The wall is scrawled with a crude representation of a bat-winged devil's skull. So there we go, that is all sealed there. And we may have to just pause there for a moment while I look into something outside of this game. So before moving on here, I think that Rhaenyra will probably take a quick look around the altar as the rest of the party begin moving towards this eastern passage. So we'll just do a quick search check for Rhaenyra. He rolls an 18, so it should be quite easy for him to find the small opening. He's got searcher +5, so yes, fine. He is then able to find the small compartment on the north side of the altar, discovering within a pile of burned scrolls and charred codices, the holy books of the cult, and an iron key. There is nothing but ashes left of the written material, save for one fragment of parchment laid to one side. This fragment was part of a larger note left by a cultist who survived the sealing of the cavern. The legible part of the note reads as follows: "Sealed us within, 100 of us, with our sightless slaves and the burning dwarf servants. But we will have the last laugh. Even now, our master brews a great potion inspired by the great Flame Lord. With it, we will slumber long, until the dwarves and sightless ones find a way past the magic of our enemies. Then the balm from the earthenware pots will be laid upon our brows, and we will rise again and set fire to the fools who sought to..." And there the fragment ends. The iron key, of course, is going to be useful for, I believe, opening up. That opens the chests in treasure room area 12 rather than the door to number 10, which I thought it was going to do. Very well. Taking these items, there is not much else to look at here, so the party will make its way into room 4 to take a look at the abode of the Azers. This large circular room is filled with metallic trees. These trees stand about 6 feet high, with ornate steel grey trunks and branches covered with delicate metal foliage. The trees rest in heavy metal pots, again ornately formed. In the centre of the room is a circular hearth that fills the room with a warm glow. Whether or not that's still burning or not is a question. They will simply investigate these trees, I suppose. Search the room. There's nothing immediately noticeable here that is going to draw any of the characters. Gothram will maybe be interested in the craftsmanship of the trees, as bizarre as they look. This is the lair of the fire-summoned Azers, who have spent the past decade forming the treasure from Area 3 into these ornate creations. The room contains a dozen metal trees. Each tree weighs 800 pounds and is made of reforged and remixed steel and miscellaneous metals. If the heroes have left the front entrance open, the Azers are not present, as they have escaped to recover Winterbock's shield. We can ignore that. The metal foliage acts as cover. As far as I can work out, there's nothing of interest in here. The players then have the option of investigating the door to number 10 or exploring the staircase that they didn't check out yet. I think that there is a slightly stronger chance that they want to investigate the door to 10. So we'll say on a 1 or 2 they don't, but 3 or more on a d6 they will investigate that door. I rolled a 2. So though most of them want to continue, Mirok will explain to them that there was a dark passage down to the south that they have yet to explore. And as such, they will head that way. Gothram going first, of course, with perhaps Valdis behind him. The stairway plunges down into the darkness. This area has not been travelled in many years and is thick with cobwebs and dust. The cobwebs are part of a trap laid by the Azers in the past few years to warn them of potential Grimlock raids, as described below. So, there's going to be a trap, and the most likely one to trigger it is going to be Gothram. The cobwebs are thin, delicate strands of metallic wire fastened to a number of bells tucked into the corners of the stairway. Anyone blundering down the stairs sets off a cacophony of ringing. The ringing has no effect on most characters. As the DM, you can call for will saving throws just to make the players nervous. Oh, how tricksy. However, Grimlocks in the area lose their superior blind fighting ability if caught within the area due to the noise. The Grimlocks have picked up on this and no longer seek to break into Aza territories. Moving down the path without setting off any of the bells requires a reflex saving throw DC 17. The sounding of the bells alerts both the Azers, if not already aware of the PCs, and the Grimlocks. Neither will be surprised. If the PCs possess Winterbox Shield, the Azers wait for the Grimlocks to weaken or destroy the party, then try to take the shield from the survivors of the PC's bodies. So, I mean, I think that a spot check is not going to be good enough to see these. That an actual search check is required. So, as far as I can work out, Gothram will simply accidentally set off these bells, alerting the Grimlocks to their ingress. Once they've made this noise, Gothram will sort of stand at the bottom of the stairs with his axe drawn, waiting. The other characters will sort of prepare for any potential attack. These two from behind. And Valdis will attempt perhaps to disarm the trap, as he is a rogue. It would require probably a search check to find the trap itself, though it has already been triggered. It was easily found by Valdis. He gets +7 and he rolled a 12. So, disabled device. He has +6 on it, the DC is 20. We're looking for a 14 at least. No, he fails. Let's just check out what that means for us. We'll go to the disabled device skill. The DM makes the disabled device checks so that you don't necessarily know whether you've succeeded. The amount of time needed to make a check and the DC for the check depend on how tricky the device is. Disabling a simple device takes 1 round, and at least 1 full round action. Intricate or complex devices require 2d4 rounds. You also can rig simple devices such as saddles or wagon wheels to work normally for a while and then fail or fall off sometime later. Disabling or rigging or jamming a fairly simple device has a DC of 10. More intricate and complex devices have a higher DC. So DC 20 is for a difficult trap, which takes 2d4 rounds to complete. So 2d4 rounds. That's 5 rounds. That's only 30 seconds that he spends doing it, making a bit of noise as he does so. If the check fails by up to 4, you have failed but can try again. So we rolled, I think, a 6. Plus 6 is 12, so that is a failure of 8. Means it essentially triggers the trap. So yeah, he will sort of set it off again, unfortunately. So the Grimlocks are certainly alerted. I'm just going to read forward a little bit about the Grimlocks to see if they would actually come to investigate or if they would just sort of plan an ambush. If warned by the bell trap in Area 6, the Grimlocks place a guard in the tunnel. Very well. So, I guess he will try to disarm it again before giving up. He rolled an 18 this time, so he managed to get rid of it, and they enter the room. This large circular room was once laid with low stone bears. How do you pronounce that word? Do we have a that's pronounced? Let's go to
Beers.
Beers. Well. Low stone beers. And notches have been carved into the walls similar to bunks. Both the notches and the beers are empty, and there is nothing save the rotting fabric of clothing in the room. Gothram and Mirok will take a look down the hole there while Rinya takes a look at the bears. Akihito is sort of standing close by, ready for any action, and Fenton and Valdis will sort of be taking an interest in the bears as well. This is the final resting place of the Brigands of the Flame. The followers of the Fire Lord took their final drink and retired here, confident that they would be restored to full health by their leader once the Azers and Grimlocks had found a way out of the sealed complex. Instead, their halls became the larders for the Grimlocks, who feasted on the preserved flesh of their followers' bodies. There is nothing within the room save dust and decay. Along the far wall is a single tunnel carved by the Grimlocks to allow them access to this catacomb. The tunnel leads to the Grimlock burrow. Now there is going to be a sentry hiding down there. He'll be doing a well, I guess he's sort of standing still, so the chances of him being discovered are very the chances of him being detected are going to be very small. But there'll be a listen check from Gothram anyway, just in case. He rolls a 12, and he has on his listen 7. It's only going to make 19. I think they're going to be unaware of any creature hiding in that area. There needs to be a joint decision between the group about whether they'll go and investigate these tunnels or whether they're going to go and check out the door. So for this, let us pick up the yes or no for the characters. So, I mean, we could vote on it. I guess Gothram and Mirok would be interested in exploring the tunnels, while the rest of the party probably wouldn't be. Maybe from Fenton. So I would say it's it's a 2 in 6 chance of them going to explore it. So a 1 or 2. And they roll a 1. So Gothram already begins making his way down the passage before anyone can say too much, and Mirok follows him along the way. A narrow tunnel plunges into the stone and tightly packed earth. It is just wide enough for a single medium-sized creature to crawl through. The tunnel was carved by the Grimlocks, who were sealed in by the Azers after the sightless creatures started raiding the bodies of the entombed brigands. The passage is wide enough for a medium-sized creature or smaller to pass through. A large creature would need to make a successful reflex save to avoid being stuck for 1d4+1 rounds, while creatures of huge or greater size cannot navigate the tunnel. Within the tunnel, all slashing weapons deal half base damage, while piercing and blunt weapons are ineffective. If warned by the bell trap in Area 6, the Grimlocks place a guard in the tunnel. So as they progress through, a guard is going to be alerted of some noise as they're coming through. Let me just check. Does Mirok have dark vision? I think he has only low light vision. So therefore, the Grimlock will probably flee into Area 9 toward his comrades. Though I think the guard will actually attack as they get sort of here. He's probably going to jump out. We'll see if Gothram gets surprised or not. The Grimlock is hiding. He gets plus 16 to his hide check. Yeah, okay. Almost impossible to spot. So Gothram is going to be surprised by... Let's just get a token for our Grimlock here. Do we have... Okay, let's copy one here then. This chap here. It's going to be our Grimlock. Grimlock Guard. Okay, so Grimlocks have 14 hit points. Their initiative is +1. So he rolls 5. I don't know if anybody is following afterwards. I suppose that Akihito will probably go next. Rinya behind him, and the other two will be sort of like standing here thinking about going through. We'll roll the rest of the initiatives. Akihito, 15 plus 5 is 20. Phantom, 3 plus 1 is 4. Gothram, 20 plus 2 is 22. Very nice roll. Mirok is 12 minus 3. Ooh. Rinya, 2 plus 4, 6. And finally Valdis, 10 plus 7. Okay, and we will... Well, the Grimlock Guard gets a free attack against flat-footed Gothram. So, Grimlock has blind sight. They suffer no penalties in melee combat, and can detect all foes within 40 feet as a sighted creature would. Beyond that range, they treat all targets as totally concealed. Negating a Grimlock's sense of smell or hearing reduces this ability to normal blind sight as the feat. If both are so affected, the Grimlock is effectively blind. They are immune to gaze attacks, visual effects, etc., and they have scent as well. So, he gets an attack of +4 with a battle axe. He rolls a 1 though, so that's definitely going to be a miss. He tries to swing his axe at Gothram, but catches the axe on the wall as he does so. So that is the end of the surprise round. Now Gothram now aware, he's only going to have one axe out as the other hand was being used to sort of steady himself within the tunnel. He rolls an 8. It's 14 against armor class 15. So it's a miss. And he's going to make a shout and alert others. Mirok behind I guess will grab his mace and he'll try and make an attack. We'll do it a -2 penalty because of things blocking the way essentially. Well, he's not actually going yet. Next is Akihito, who's going to try and make some progress down the tunnel and realise that the way is blocked. Valdis will wait where he is while Mirok makes his attack. He rolls a 15. He would get +2 normally, but we're doing -2 because of various bits of cover and stuff. So he's still going to hit for 1d6 points of damage against the Grimlock, dealing 3 points of damage to him. And Rinya, I suppose, should probably at this point cast Mage Armor. And we're just going to check the duration of Mage Armor. I think it's 1 hour. Mage Armor. 1 hour per level, so 2 hours. That's plenty of time. So let's make a note of that. Rinya casts Mage Armor. The Grimlock again will try and attack at Gothram. This time rolling a 19, so that's certainly a hit. 1d8 plus 2 damage. It's 10 points of damage. Fairly palpable hit against Gothram there. Fenton is going to do very little at this point, and Gothram, he is going to make an attack at the Grimlock. He rolls a 14, so that will hit. He does 1d8 plus 3 points of damage. 10 points of damage. The creature will almost be dead. Akihito, unable to get through, he sort of tries to give a shout of support. Valdis, unable to do anything, but Mirok is going to try and swing his mace again. But he does not hit. Rinya comes along to provide a little bit more light. And the Grimlock, at this point, is likely to try and flee, so he'll withdraw down the tunnel. Now we need to know whether Gothram is going to pursue. we'll head over to our DM yourself document and we're going to roll a d6 here. 4, yes, but he will do it very slowly with his other weapon drawn. Mirok is going to sort of stand at the opening there, and the Grimlock guard will continue to flee, presumably to a dead end. Gotham will then presumably approach. What was the distance of that exactly? He's going to get within range then and make 2 attacks. Right, now saying slashing weapons deal only half damage. Or he hits with the axe and with the sword. So I rolled a 7. So the Grimlock should probably have 4 more hit points than he does. But here we are dealing d6 and d8. d6, so a short sword is going to be a piercing weapon, so that's fine. 6 damage. 1 damage from the axe, and then an additional 4 damage. So it's going to be 11 damage in total. Killing the creature. The party will then converse about whether they would actually continue exploring, making listen checks to see if they can detect anything. We've got 20 from Rinya. His listen skill is 2, so he might be able to hear some slight noise. Let me open up my listening document to see exactly what would be required to hear anything. Listening skill is 2. They're trying to hear 4, not even whispering. I suppose we can say whispering. There's no door between. And the distance... I mean, we'll say it's 40 feet. Therefore, the DC would be 19. I think with the 22 that Rinya is going to suggest that there is something ahead. Maybe they should not investigate it. Let's roll on the Oracle again. Will the party investigate? Yes, they will. Gothram will lead the way, but Mirok is going to do a cure spell on him first. He's going to use remove disease, remove fear. To do a cure spell, so it's 1d8 plus 2. So that's 6 hit points cured for Gothram there. And they will sort of slowly make their way to room 9. And the two rogues are sort of staying behind. Fenton is going to cast light at this point, otherwise they will be plunged into darkness. And we will unfortunately need to stop it there. So they will enter room 9 at the beginning of the next session. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.